So we're going to start a mini unit on how to cite sources and avoid plagiarism. So we're going to be going over two handouts that are posted within your assignment that are just kind of here to help you out and help guide you. So giving credit where credit is due, how to avoid plagiarism. So some forms of plagiarism are super obvious, but the topic of plagiarism is pretty complex. A lot of times when people plagiarize, they do it unintentionally just because they don't know the rules. So here are some guidelines to help. When do I cite a source? If you're using someone else's exact words, even if it's just a phrase, if that phrase is unique, when you're using someone else's ideas or research, or you're giving information that you learned from a source. Note that you need to cite the source in these cases, even when you're summarizing or paraphrasing. So summarizing means relating someone else's words, usually to give information in a briefer or more condensed way. So in either case, when you paraphrase or summarize, very few of the author's original words should be present. Especially avoid reusing unique words or phrases. In fact, even your syntax, which is the way you structure your sentence, should be different. And then paraphrasing is restating someone else's words in order to make them more clear. When do I not cite a source? So when you're sharing your own experiences or thoughts, you're using well-known or rarely disputed facts, so kind of general information, anything that would be considered common knowledge. There are, these second 2 points are tricky, so when in doubt, just cite your source. Common knowledge that you can expect the average person to know. For example, you don't need to cite a source to say that the Civil War began in 1861. Everybody should have learned that going through, history class. You should cite the source if you give the number of women who worked on the front lines during the war. So there is a difference. There's some gray area when it comes to what common knowledge could be. So cite the source if you're ever unsure. So MLA help citing a source. Why should you use in-text citations? So when you use someone else's words or ideas, you have to give them credit in your paper or in the assignment. So this is referred to as using in-text citations. So they ensure that the authors are getting their credit, and they keep you safe from me accusing you of cheating or stealing somebody's work. So how do you use in-text citations? So there are a couple of ways that you can use them. Use the author page style when possible. This means that if your source gives the author's name and a page number, use them in the citation. So for example, down here, in Mary Shelley, that's the author, Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein explains, in other studies, you go as far as others have gone before, and there's nothing more to know. But in scientific pursuit, there's a continual food for discovery and wonder. The 32 would be the page numbers, okay? Another option would be to do it this way. This reminds readers of Victor Frankenstein, who, lured by the mysteries of science, explains, in other studies, you go as far as others have gone before you, and there is nothing more to know. But in scientific pursuit, there is a continual food for discovery and wonder. Shelley 32. This is the second way that you could do an in-text citation using the author's information. If you're using an article from the internet, a lot of times you're not going to have page numbers, so it would just be the author's last name. If there is no author, it's probably not a credible source. So if there is no author, but it is like a .org or .gov, just put a shortened title in the quotation marks like this down here at the bottom of this one, Jobs of the Future. If there's more than one author, you follow the guidelines. For 2 authors, use both names. For more than 2 authors, use ETAL 102. You shouldn't have to ever worry about using number 3. So now you're going to practice this specific idea. So at first it's going to give you an example, up here of what a works cited page looks like that you should refer to as you guys are working on your argumentative essay. So you're going to read this story right here, Fire at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. And then right here, you're going to decide if the example is plagiarized or not. based off how they did it. So explain yes or no, and then type your explanation in the final box.